All right, traders, welcome into another mighty recap. Today we have another base hit day in our hands. Very grateful, feeling very dialed in. We definitely saw a shift in sentiment during the pre-market hours. We had at the very least 2 or 3 stocks that we're going to cover here in this video that had breaking news and that also gave a few setups along the way. From there, I started giving profits right away at the market open, and so I left quite early and wasn't able to capitalize on NCPL. This was something that I did trade during pre-market, but unfortunately missed this rally here as we reclaimed VWAP and then broke through pre-market highs and continued to stair step up all the way up to 80 cents per share. We definitely have been seeing a cool off in the penny stock world, and we've been seeing a lot of the $2 to $3, $4, $5 stocks take over. But again, it's all about headlines and it's all about what's in play and what stocks actually have breaking news during pre-market, as that's a big part of my strategy. So today I'm sitting up over $5,000, which is amazing. Still ways to go for my 8-figure protocol goal. This is something that I started at the end last year. And, I'm tracking my progress all the way up to $10 million, which is a huge goal. But dreaming is free and dreams do come true. And there's people out there that have made way beyond $10 million day trading. And the mere fact that that's possible, it's all I need to know for me to do it for myself, right? Because why not you? Why not me? If some idiot can do it, why can't I do it, right? So let's go here to recap. And let me show you some of the sauce. So sitting up $5,911. And as you can see, the bulk of the profit is coming on from SWVL. And this was a higher price ticker. And I even recall some of my trading friends struggling on this ticker only because it was a little bit more spready and a little bit more whippy. And it genuinely required wider stops. Because if you were going for an arbitrary 10-cent stop or maybe a stop loss below the 90 EMA or anything like that, it would have been a little too tight. For example, there was a lot of chopping around here as we were reclaiming the 200 EMA. And if you had a very tight stop, I can see how people stop out before catching this move. First 1 minute retracement came around, a wide retracement, right? We pulled in all the way down to 234. Even having a very tight VWAP stop loss would have gone stop you out. Right? I was able to capture, fuck. I was able to take some good trades as we were reclaiming the 200 EMA. This is one of my favorite setups and has really been working over the past few weeks. Recognizing where is the 200 EMA sitting at. And number one, the trade all the way up to it is one, because the 200 EMA almost works as a magnet, because short sellers know that it's close and they wait to short the stock until it reaches that resistance level, right? So they can have a better entry. They let the stock extend a little bit. And it's kind of like this self-fulfilling prophecy that if enough short sellers are aware of this level being like up here, they're probably going to let the stock run all the way up to it to have a better setup, as instead of shorting because of the stock being extended up 50%, now their thesis is I am shorting because the stock is up 60% and is hitting this very obvious level of resistance, the 200 EMA, making their trade higher quality and I would guess risking more because of the higher grade on that trade. Which in other words creates this window for us to run towards it. And there's a long that you can trade all the way up to it. And then of course the classic, if we break above it and hold it like we did here, that can allow you for another trade. We got a breakout from 195 to $3 per share, and the first retracement was good. From there, he sold off hard. I genuinely thought we were going to see a second leg right after we broke out of this downtrend, but the selling was too big. They were unwinding big on the level 2. You could see a lot of green on the tape. You could see us trying to curl, but then somebody would just sit in the ask and unwind a bunch of shares. So we didn't have enough buying power to get through those sellers. So that faded after he broke under VWAP. I left it alone. What else did I trade? I traded PRCO. I don't remember that. TNMG. TNMG was that penny stock. Oh yeah, this is the first stock that I did trade. TNMG. And if I recall, I sat down. Yes. I sat down and AIXI was already up almost 300%. And I remember telling myself, all of this, she gone, already up 300%. The dilution agenda on, no news, not CNSP. The not CNSP is a funny line. 4 a.m. move, not SMB capital standards. You know, she's a gunner. So this is part of what you get if you join my live streams. You know, in trading success is mostly avoiding stupid trades rather than capturing profitable trades. Because if you are trading a pre-market breaking news stock that goes from up 50% to 200%, even a monkey is going to find a profitable trade, right? But what about avoiding everything that is not that? Everything that is not that easy money window. That's the tricky part. And while I was sitting down, right? Normally I start my day. I start my day at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which was right here. I kid you not, I had done this way too many times. I see leading gapper up 300%, huge relative volume, and I instantly start trading this downtrend, right? And quickly catch myself sitting at max loss, and it's 4 a.m. in the morning. 4 a.m. because of my time zone. Unbelievable. There's no worse feeling that waking up at 3 a.m. Waking up at 3 a.m. requires preparation from the prior day, right? It requires that you can have a girlfriend because you can never have dinners, because when normal people have dinner, you have to be in bed, right? So you sacrifice a relationship. Then you sacrifice the pleasure of having fucking dinner, right? That's out the window. Then you force yourself against your circadian rhythm to go to sleep while the sun is still outside, right? That's sacrifice number 4. Then you go to sleep early, which sucks. There's no Netflix, there's no TV at night. You force yourself to sleep because you need to wake up early. You set up the alarms 3:30, 3:31, 3:32, 3:33, right? So that you can be sitting at 4 a.m., which would be 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You wake up, you make a coffee. You know, it's pitch black outside. It's like 3:40 a.m. And then you sit down right at 4 a.m. Instant max loss. It's 4:15 a.m. It's not like you can go back to sleep. You can go to the gym. The gym is not open yet. It's 4:15 a.m. and you're sitting at max loss. You just drank 2 cups of coffee. There's no falling asleep now. And you're down $7,000. What the fuck do you do then? I've been there way too many times. That's how you quit trading very quickly. It's not just the max loss. It's the build up towards it. So much goes into this just to like fuck it up. And after that happened to me way too many times, I do this very nuanced watch list before I start trading each morning. And this is something, again, available for people watching my live streams. No, she's gone. And I even do it in this bold, huge text because I literally put it in front of the chart. It's like I don't even want to be able to read the technicals because I have no business even looking at this. And so I successfully avoided it. Do you see that trash ticker in the tickers I traded today? No, you do not. No, you do not, because I missed it. This is how success looked like. Avoiding stupid shit. There's another ticket that you don't see. There's another ticket that you don't see here. Which one is it? Which one is it? Which one is it? Exactly. Exactly. This trash. No, 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 no. Why? Because this is a stock that started yesterday trading at 50 cents. Hit a high of $6. And we are trading under the shadow of that. I'm a very visual person, in case you haven't already noticed. I even like drawing the fucking shadow, right? Because it reminds me that we are trading under a shadow. So this right here is not a secret indicator. It's just the mighty drawing like a little kid on top of his charts. This to me is a shadow, right? It's like an overcasting shadow. It's overhead resistance. It's back holders holding the bag. Is an imbalance to the sell side. This is what this shadow reminds me of. So I drew in the shadow because if by accident I get way too zoomed in on a chart, I'm gonna notice this nasty looking red shadow. He's like, what? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Um, Everybody's short against this level. There won't be any short squeeze unless we reclaim 550. So pretty much every pop from there is going to be sold off. Look at this. Nasty. Pop to 470. All the way down to 330. I'm very proud of my technical analysis. It's like beautiful to see every day. Is it not? All right, so I avoided that as well. And was there edge here? Was there setups? Was there opportunities for you to make money on this ticker to the long side? Yes, 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 and yes. You are right. There was. Most of my friends traded it. Most of them are green. But for me, it's kind of like it's a harder battle. It's not an easy money trade. It's less expected value, and it's just a more stressful trade, a more stressful ticker. It's not worth my mental capital. It's probably worth someone else's mental capital, and I do believe there's edge here. Right? Look at this little breakout against this level. This fat opening surge was good from 360s to 460s, $1 a share. There's money to be made here. But all month, like I said, check out this spectacular month. Isn't that spectacular? It is spectacular. This month, I told myself I won't be fighting an uphill battle. I won't be risking it for the biscuit. I just want to have a smooth sailing month. Please, please. I've had the most stressful year and a half of my day trading career. Please, can I have a fucking month where I don't want to kill myself every day? Please, 1 month. And so, my standards have increased. My risk management has tightened up. And there's some stocks that I just avoid, like this motherfucker. I've been cussing way too much in this video. And I apologize. But I'm loving it. I'm living life, right? Oh man. I just did a podcast. I don't even know if I can say it. Maybe it doesn't even matter. But I just did a podcast with a huge day trader in the space. And I remember telling her, I have a lot of stomach problems, or at least I used to have. It's way better now. And I completely think the reason why is because of trading. It's because of trading stress. It's because of losing money, winning money. It's because of that emotional roller coaster. It's a very high stress career. And I remember for the longest time, I went to like dozens of doctors. Nobody knew what the fuck was going on because they would do exams and there was nothing there. Thank goodness. Thank God. But then I would have bad stomach pain, colon pain all the time. And until one doctor with brain cells asked me, "What do you do for a living?" And to this point, I didn't told anyone what I did for a living. It's like I'm a day trader. Like, what the fuck does that even mean? Like, you trade Bitcoin or like, you know what I mean? So I just avoid that question. It's like, what do you do for a living? I don't know. I paint houses, right? Just to like avoid that question. But this doctor, I told him I'm a stock trader. I was like, yeah, you're a stock trader. All right, that's why you're fucked. Because this guy used to have a friend that worked at the exchange, and he understood the stress of being a trader, the ups and downs, the high stakes, the high stakes career of making money, losing money, all of that, right? And he was like, stress. Your problems are stress. And it won't go away ever as long as you're a day trader. And you know, the goal this month is to smooth out that stress curve. Um, and I've been successfully doing that. And ironically, when you have this mindset of almost careless, of almost not wanting to make money, it's like I don't care. I don't care. It might be even better if I don't even trade at all today. Ironically, when you have this mindset, is when trading gets easy. That's why the rich get richer, and the ones that need it the most get wrecked. Because it's that careless mindset. When you have that careless attitude, it's kind of like easy to see the setups. There's something good here, yeah, boom, take a trade, $1,000. There's something trash here, doesn't matter. I'll go to the beach instead of trading, right? And you just leave. And that's the kind of like the mindset I've had this month, and the mindset I'm going to continue to have. And yeah, all right, that's the recap. There's a story time of the day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Stay safe, stay green. See you later.